Greetings from Mobility Outlook and welcome to Women in Mobility. Beginning her career in tourism industry, Esther Maria Loidl has grew up through her career and reached to the leadership level in one of the largest conglomerates in Germany. She is currently the CHRO of Freudenberg SE and member of the management board of Freudenberg & Company. She joined Freudenberg in 2013 as the Senior Vice President Global Human Resources at Freudenberg Sealing Technologies, Weinheim in Germany. In 2017, she became the Global Head of Corporate Human Resources in the same place. Prior to this, Esther served Brose, a multinational company based out of Coburg, Germany. She served the company for about 16 years in different positions. Esther does yoga and likes to read in her free time. Esther, welcome to Women in Mobility, an initiative by Mobility Outlook to engage with women leaders in the mobility ecosystem and to understand their leadership journey.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Thank you for your time. So I understand that you started your career in the tourism industry. If you can let us know about the initial days of career.
Yeah, so it was a very interesting journey. I'm originally from Austria. I studied tourism there and obviously did a lot of internships, got to know a lot, and then moved to Mexico. I lived there for 10 years. And the first years I worked in tourism, I managed a hotel. So this was a very, very valuable experience. I think shaped me for my career and gave me a real idea about interaction with humans, about service interaction and service orientation, but also important insights that I then converted into my career in human resources.
Okay, I think after tourism you joined a company that is purely into automotive, for 16 years. And then you joined Freudenberg, which caters to about 30 plus industrial segments. How was the difference and how was your journey?
Yeah, both are family-owned companies, so this is what they have in common. And it was actually very interesting for me to move from a company that's focused on automotive or mainly on automotive to come to Freudenberg with so many different industries, so many different customers, different products, so that really you have to adapt the way also you work in human resources and cater to different industries and needs. But what they both had in common, being family-owned companies, is this really long-term orientation and vision and a very strong focus on the employees, and this is what motivated me working for those companies.
Yeah, I understand. From one family-owned company to another family-owned company, you found some commonalities because of the management, etc. But what are the biggest learnings from the first family-owned company that you brought into Freudenberg?
Yeah, I learned a lot about structures in processes, which is very common in the automotive industry, to really have clear processes, to have them documented, to follow them. And this is something, and also the idea of lean management, to really have no waste also in your processes and in the way you work. This is something I could really transfer also then to my different tasks at Freudenberg, to have this process orientation besides the people orientation and besides the service orientation.
Okay. Is your expertise in tourism industry helping in your current role?
Yeah, definitely. It taught me a lot about human beings and about interacting with humans. I mean, you have to deal with happy customers, but sometimes you deal with very angry and unhappy customers. It taught me a lot about leadership. I was in a management role at a very young age, managing a large group of people who was considerably older than me. So it was really learning by doing in the area of leadership. So this was a very valuable experience I still benefit from today. And I think also the intercultural aspect, working in Mexico, for example, as an Austrian, dealing with many Americans back then. This was a lot of learning about cultures, about how humans from a certain cultural background react in certain situations. So for sure something I still benefit today, that also to have a more open mind and not reflect everything with my own cultural background.
Okay. So as a chief human resource officer of a large conglomerate having facilities and offices in different parts of the world, cultures are different. But as a woman, what do you think are your advantages in managing people from different cultures?
I don't necessarily think you have an advantage as a woman. We might have a little bit more of openness and antennas in interpersonal relationships. On the other hand, you also have other challenges. So I think it's all about an inclusive work culture and make sure that everybody is heard in an organization. And I see it also as my task to support women in our organization and make sure that they rise through the ranks.
Yeah, you must have traveled to different parts of the country for your work-related assignments. So, what do you see, or what are the impediments for women to grow up in their career?
Yeah, I think it very much depends on the support structure a woman has. So first, they need to be given the opportunity to have a good education. And I believe that's still a challenge in many countries, and for sure also in India. After that, they need the support of their family to work. They need the support to have their career. I think women are motivated, they are very often amazingly educated, they have all this drive, they have this energy, they're able to multitask, they're able to handle immense amount of pressure and immense amount of work. So all they need is a support structure which frees time and space for them so they can really do an excellent job. And I have seen, especially here in India, amazing female talent, and I think there is a bright future for executives, female executives in India. Yeah. I think it's important to have the opportunity. So you always need somebody who supports you, not only from your family, but also in the company. So it's important to have a mentor. It's important to have a manager who gives you the opportunity, gives you interesting projects, gives you support, gives you development opportunities, maybe stretch assignments, and then you have these opportunities. And then it's up to the lady to grasp this opportunity and really grow in the organization and shine and show what they're doing. On the other hand, for a company, it's also important that you keep track on it, that you measure how well your diversity initiatives are advancing, and that you have also a goal on where you want to be with female representation in your company, making sure that this is not only on the lower levels of the organization, but that also female talents has the opportunity to rise through the ranks.
Yeah, you will have a lot of millennials and Gen Z coming into the organization. Their approach to many things are completely different from what you saw earlier. So, what are the challenges that you see when dealing with them? And what kind of an approach that you have, whether it's rigid or flexible? How do you manage?
I think there is a massive benefit from having different generations in the workplace. So they have different perspectives, they have different ideas. So young generations can benefit from the experience from more experienced colleagues. And the more experienced colleagues can benefit maybe from fresh ideas, from a completely different view, and from also maybe other skills Gen Z, Gen Y associates are bringing on the table. So what we need to make sure is that we have a work environment where they can come together and where they can really take advantage of their strong points and their knowledge, and there is no confrontation of the generations, but really an inclusiveness where together we can then achieve something better. So it's all about listening and learning and benefiting from the experience.
Okay. But do you see any substantial difference between the Gen Zs and millennials and the old generation people?
Yeah, of course, there are many differences. There are different expectations towards an employer, different expectations towards a workplace, different expectations towards their career development, also what work really means in their life and what people want to achieve in their life. We see that all over the world. It varies from country to country, but definitely the expectations are different. So as an employer, we have the task to cater to the needs of all the generations. So we should not alienate the more experienced associates and focus only on the younger generations, because we need them both. To be successful, I'm sure we need both.
I think your job calls for a lot of travel, no? Always. But how do you strike a balance between work and life, family?
Yeah, I have the advantage that I like to travel. I like to go to other countries, to meet colleagues abroad, to explore culture, to learn something about culture. And maybe that also comes from my tourism background, so I'm very interested in all that. I'm interested in trying food, local food, learning more about it. So I really enjoy traveling. On the other hand, it's obviously not always easy, time-consuming and exhausting, and I'm glad and happy that I have a family network that supports me and puts no pressure on me, but helps me really to deal with that.
That's fantastic to hear. So you practice yoga. So glad that you're doing it. How is it helping you in managing people?
Yeah, I think yoga in first hand helps me to be more grounded, to be more in touch with my inner self. So I practice yoga every morning. I try to. I'm obviously also there on a journey and every day learning also something about myself. So it helps me to be more centered, and that helps me to be more open for people, to be more receptive, to be able to really focus, be in the moment, and also appreciate other human beings. So I think it was very important for me to discover that. Maybe a little bit late in my career. I wish I would have seriously practiced yoga early on. Then I was more seeing it as a sport, and you can practice yoga once a week and then the world is going to be fine. But when I started practicing on a day-to-day practice, I really felt that after some time something changed. Besides a better physical being, also my mental being has improved.
Great. And your vision for the mobility of the future?
Mobility in the sense of mobility driving?
The transportation.
Transportation. So I think we will be for sure the trend towards alternative fuel, being electric or fuel cells, or maybe also biofuels. This is going to move forward. So I think also autonomous driving is going to becoming seriously. We see that already in the US, a little bit in Europe, probably in India a little bit later, because there are more challenges in the traffic. So I think lots of innovations in this area, which requires a lot of talent, a lot of skill. So we for sure going to be busy in that industry.
Well, thank you very much for sparing your valuable time, Esther. It was wonderful catching up with you. Thank you for being part of Women in Mobility. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.